All right, well, I guess my intro is broken, so there won't be any intro tonight. We're just going to go straight into a stream. I don't know what happens, but as I like to say, the big radio stations have a bigger lunch budget than I do, so full budget to go online. I have got a special guest tonight, Jackie B, and then, the extra special guest, Mike Dirsa, as well. I didn't want to leave you out there, Mike. Welcome to the show, Jackie.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you. And for those of you that are either on Periscope, Twitter, you can now. I've set it up. You can go straight to the website and you can stream straight off of Oilers.live, which is a pretty big deal, I think. And you know what? Part of me thinks that we're not even streaming right now, but I'm gonna I'm gonna double check that. Yeah, I really believe that we are, and we are. That's good. So that is a positive. So we're off to a good start. How was your day today, Jackie? What'd you do?
Well, nothing. I worked and I'm working from home right now, so I haven't really left my house much in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So, yeah, weird times. Very weird.
Very weird times. So, which is, this is why we're doing the stream, by the way, is to get people together, have them talking, do something a little bit lighthearted, something, maybe talk a little bit of hockey if that's the case, and just have some fun. I've got after you tonight at 9:30. We've got a couple guys that I played hockey with a few times and know reasonably well from the Puck Buddies podcast. They're based out in Vancouver. And then at 10:30, we've got an old cohort of yours, if that's the right way to put it. Kelly from Beer League Heroes will be on at
You bet.
10:30. Yeah. So let's get some background here, Jackie. You used
Sure.
to do a podcast on the oil rig, right?
Yes. So I was one of the managing partners for the Oilers rig for about 4 or 5 years, give or take. So I was blogging, I was doing the podcast, not all the time, but I was on it. And we built it up pretty well and we had a pretty decent following. And then things kind of just changed personally for me. I got engaged and was planning a wedding and things were getting a little bit crazy. So I backed off for a little while. And then I just decided, you know what, it's tough. Like I enjoy blogging because I always have an opinion about something. But it was hard to just sort of keep everything going. And I just wanted to be a fan for a while and just tweet, because I tweet during the games all the time.
Yep.
But I just wanted to do that on my own, and then I just kind of stepped away from it altogether.
Well, so anybody that knows Jackie knows that she's being 100% honest. She is opinionated, and she does tweet a lot. And you're also a big and you're also a big fan. So I think that's great. I don't know how I when I got into this, I think you'd already kind of stepped aside from doing the blogging and the podcasting, and so I probably haven't been following you the whole time, but didn't take me long to catch on that. You were going to be there, and whether I liked what you said or not, I was going to have to interact with you if I wanted to tweet about Oilers hockey. So,
Yeah, I'm a mainstay, I think, on Twitter. I'm not trying to brag, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of people know who I am if you're thinking about Oilers Twitter.
yeah. Well, it's a unique place. Mike,
Yes.
do you have Jackie on the mega thread?
No, actually, and I will tell you why.
I'm bracing for this one.
No disrespect to Mike, but the mega thread would blow my phone up 24/7. And I asked him very nicely, I said, could you please remove me from the mega thread because my phone is just like blowing up. But yeah, so no disrespect to Mike at all, but it's just not my favorite thing.
So I've got to tell you something that's kind of funny is I figured out where my intro went right in the middle of you talking about your history. Now, it would have just went over your history. Everybody would have still been able to hear you and a little bit of my intro, but there I was fooling around in the background on the streaming piece. And I'm thinking to myself, oh shit, there it is, right there. Yeah, I need better help around here. That's what I need.
I'm sorry, Mike.
Yeah. Oh man, that's awful. So you got Glenn Maas watching us here on Periscope. He says, "Hey Jackie." So maybe
Hi, Glenn.
give him a little shout out. Uh, so let me ask you then. I mean, just what's your thoughts now? There's no, it's clearly we're not getting a regular season, right? You think we're gonna have playoffs this year?
Oh man, I
This is recorded, by the way.
Coronavirus is so fluid. Everything is changing day by day. So, I really don't know. And if I'm being 100% honest, I'm going to say no. I think that we're done for the year. I don't even think they would consider playing playoffs or any hockey with or without fans. I think it's done.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
I'd have
which
to agree
sucks.
with you.
We made the frickin' playoffs, or would have.
Yeah, I think we
once.
would have. Have you? Glenn says, "Oh yeah, you guys too." Clearly, we're a second. We're now, Mike. You and I were an afterthought. I've played hockey with Glenn. Like I've I've bled on the ice with that guy.
You did introduce me as a special guest, so let's be real here.
I did.
People are coming to see me.
Exactly. Oh man. Well, you know what? I'm glad that you could make it. I think Sam put us in touch, and
Yes.
the sole reason for me, I've been doing the podcast now for just about 3 years, and I've had a lot of fun doing it. But when all this crap kind of came around, I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to be inside anyway. And this way I know that Dirsa will keep social distance from me because he has to be on the other side of a Skype call. And so...
A healthy 7 hours away.
Exactly, a healthy 7 hours. It's
Never mind 7 feet.
That's right. Yeah. It's almost enough. And
almost.
Yeah, and so just some lighthearted conversation and talk. Have you watched any what are you doing? What are you doing right now to keep yourself occupied? Are you watching hockey? Because I find myself watching a lot of old games right now. Are you doing anything like that?
I did watch the replay of the Battle of Alberta with Cassian and Kachuk fighting each other. Finally, he dropped the gloves and got his butt kicked. But anyway, I did watch that, but I haven't really. I miss hockey. I miss hockey a lot, but it makes me really sad to watch these games, and I'm just like, oh, why isn't this real life right now? Why isn't this happening right now? It's so disappointing. So really what I've been doing is stalking all of the Oilers players' wives, girlfriends on the social media to just see what they're up to.
So
that's all I've been doing.
What is your suggestion for those people that are tuning in? What's your suggestion on the best players to tune into right now? And where would you go? Would you say, are you thinking like Instagram? You're thinking Twitter? Who and where? Where do we go for good content?
Well, I'm currently stalking pretty much all of the Oilers on Instagram. That's probably the best place because all their girlfriends and wives have Instagram that are open for the most part. They don't have them. They're not private.
Yeah.
So I just kind of check it out and see what's going on. But McDavid's girlfriend is very, she's very busy on Instagram. I'm still a huge Jordan Eberle fan. I know he's not technically an Oiler anymore, but he is in my heart. So I follow him and his wife, they just had a baby. So I'm like, ooh, little baby Eberle, even though it's a girl. So yeah, they're all posting quite a bit, and they're posting a lot of, messages about what's been going on with, with the coronavirus, and messaging to stay at home if they can, and quarantine, #quarantine kind of stuff. But, anytime I get to see McDavid with a hockey stick in his hand, I'm happy.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what?
So,
I mean, that's great.
even if he's just screwing around.
With his puppy.
And
his dog is the best.
his dog seems to be the most popular one, right? Like, isn't that the like everybody seems to love that dog? What kind of dog is it? It's some kind of poodle cross, right? Like,
it's like, I think it's a
Bernese
mountain dog crossed with a poodle. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Bernedoodle. Does that sound right?
It does.
Bernedoodle?
It does sound exactly right. I think you are right.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I'm not exactly sure what that entails, but it's cute.
But it's cute. Yeah. And
Labrador poodle cross. I'm thinking. Yep.
No, I think
I
think it's a Burmese is what I heard, poodle cross. This staying inside is making us consider getting a dog too. Although I strongly figure that I won't have thousands of people following me to watch me play ball hockey with my dog.
Maybe not. And I don't know if you'll be quite as popular as Connor is.
No,
he's pretty popular in these parts.
he might be a little bit. Yeah, I'm yet to come up on one of those things where people want to quarantine with me. Nobody's picked me yet. What the? I have no.
My husband has to quarantine with me, and I'm not even sure he wants to.
He's stuck. Eh? That's it. Yeah.
Poor guy.
Oh well, you know what? I mean, it certainly there's there's been some fun times though too, right? Like, I mean, it's not been all bad with everything. I mean, it's been, it seems that all of this, you're connecting with more people, you're doing at least I find I'm doing a lot of things that I wanted to do that I haven't done in a long time. And so I'm set up quite well for it. But so you got Connor McDavid. What'd you think of Tyler Ennis drunk over at Connor's place there? That to me was the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. He looks like the little drunk guy at all the parties, right? You know what I'm talking about?
He looks like a little drunk leprechaun. That's what he reminded me of. Just this little drunk Irish little leprechaun. And I looked at it and I'm like, oh, good old Edmonton boy, right? Just doing the Edmonton thing. But I only saw it for a brief second. Like, I'm pretty sure it was just on like somebody's story, Instagram story. Like, I don't know if it was an actual picture that stayed. I can't remember. But it kind of made its way through Twitter and through, a bunch of other social media outlets. So it's pretty funny. But that was not very good social distancing. They're not doing it right.
No, not at all. Very, very, very bad example of social distancing there.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just want to apologize to a couple people if you're trying to tune in. It looks like there's some streaming issues across the board tonight, so it might be a little bit choppy. Hopefully we stay on through everything. We've got, just about 3 hours worth of content, so it would be a shame if you only get to watch it in 20-second segments. I'm sure you wouldn't stay around for very long. But it will be recorded. It's recorded, and we'll release it as a podcast after. So all good.
Nice.
What about any players outside of the Oilers that you would suggest as a follow?
Well, Jordan Eberle.
Yes.
Number one.
Number one. Sorry, I keep
He's
forgetting.
my number one. PK Subban has an awesome Instagram. Like, he's just hilarious. He's got a really good Instagram account. Who else do I follow? Now you put me on the spot. Now I have to think.
I could have given you these questions in advance, I guess, but that's not the kind of host.
Yeah. I who else do I follow? I'm trying to think. I follow a lot of the older Oilers on Twitter, like Grant Fuhr, Esa Tikkanen, the older guys. They're not as fun, but I still follow them to see what's going on. But honestly, the best Instagram account that I follow is Gritty. If you don't follow him on Instagram, follow him on Instagram. He's hilarious.
All right. That is noted. So
Hilarious.
give
Yeah,
Gritty a follow. I kind of always wish that Hunter would get onto Twitter. Gritty's on Twitter and
me too.
Instagram and everywhere, and that's always been a big disappointment for me. And I think there's so much promise with this really like scary looking mascot that we have, and we're the Oilers are underutilizing the fear factor there. Right?
I don't think he's scary. I don't think he's scary looking.
No,
I think he's pretty cool looking.
Oh, he is definitely cool, but I also think like he's got, he looks mean, right? Like we had him at the Oilerslive Cup, and also when we did the game for Adam, he came out for that, and it was great to have him. And actually, what's funny is when I was arranging the whole Oilers Live Cup, the guy that I was messaging back and forth to kind of give the schedule to, I said, "Here's kind of the things that I want. Do you mind letting Hunter know that this is what I want?" And he kind of laughed back at me, and I'm like, "Crap, you're Hunter, aren't you?" The whole time. The whole time
crap.
yeah. It's like, it's a good thing I
I
didn't
do think
complain.
you're right, though. I think the Oilers are missing a huge PR opportunity there, because if he could blow up half as much as Gritty blew up with some of the content that he posts, that they post for him, not that the Oilers need more of a following, because I think we probably have one of the bigger followings on Twitter. But if Hunter had an account and was doing half of the crazy stuff that Gritty was doing, then, he would blow up too. So I think they are missing an opportunity there PR wise, for sure.
Hunter needs a police investigation. That's what he needs, right? Like, like, I mean, that's
How dumb was that, right?
that's when Gritty really, you've made it when, like, especially in the U.S., right? Like, if you haven't been put up for assault on the media or something, then you're not really a celebrity yet, I think.
Yeah, you're not doing it. Yeah, you're not doing it right.
You're doing something wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Gritty on Instagram, Eberle Instagram.
Yeah.
Is Eberle on Twitter? I don't. You know what? I'm sad. Sorry to say, I don't know. Like I don't.
Yes, he
Okay.
is on Twitter. He doesn't tweet a lot, and he doesn't post on Instagram a lot. It's mostly his wife. She posts all the time.
She posts all the time. Yeah, I've seen that. I've
Yeah,
seen.
but
I've
she's an
definitely seen
amazing
it.
lady.
Yeah. So is she from Calgary, or where's she from?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both from. Well, they both went to school and stuff together. Like they've known each other since they were teenagers. Like I know it's crazy that I know a weird amount about Jordan Eberle, but they went to school together for I think they met in junior high.
Yeah. Oh,
and
really?
they've known each other since then. But she's a music teacher. She is a cook. She has published, I think, two or three cookbooks.
So are you an
she's just a
Eberle
really
fan or
lady.
an Eberle's wife fan?
Well, at first, I mean, Eberle is my favorite. He is by far my favorite Oiler. Well, okay, I love McDavid and Draisaitl too, but Jordan Eberle has a special place in my heart. And it started with the when he played for Team Canada in the juniors, and I remember him scoring and being so clutch, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he's going to be an Oiler. And then the love affair grew from there. So I followed him and then realized that his girlfriend at the time, that she was posting so often, I was like, oh, I need more of a glimpse into the Eberle world. So I'm going to follow her. And then I just really started to like her a lot. She's just a really neat lady. So I follow her mostly.
Yeah.
I see her post more than I see his. So
I find, and
it's sad. I know.
well, you get it's not too bad. I mean, we get into the social media, right? And it's huge right now, right? Because that's what we have. We're all sitting at home, combing through social media for not working from home. and it's not hard to kind of get lost in some of that. But I do find, like, and to your point, I think the big thing is guys like Connor McDavid, right? Like, nothing is put out there that's not screened, right? Like, it's not,
Oh yeah.
it's all carefully done, right? And there's very little off the cuff of anything. Like, to see Tyler Ennis, looking like a drunk leprechaun, as you say, that's the kind of thing that a guy like Connor McDavid or Jordan Eberle, when you get to that sort of level, right, that you just don't see anymore. And
Well, that was
yeah.
not Connor that posted that though either.
No,
That was
no,
his
and that's the
girlfriend.
thing, right? Like, it is you like, you'll get sort of a better idea of the true world they live in by following the people around them rather than following them, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, I love Connor, like every good Oilers fan does. But you really, it's like, I remember Jerome McGinley. I had a friend that used to be a beat writer for the Flames, and she said, Jerome McGinley, everything about him was scripted, right? Like, if you didn't have the microphone on or you weren't doing a story, you got the true Iginla. But outside of that, he was a
Yeah.
product on and off the ice, right? And so, it was like a little bit like talking to a robot. And I find that with Connor McDavid. The only time that I've heard him sort of let loose was on Spit and Chicklets. That was about as natural as I've ever heard him. Did you listen to that episode?
I didn't know. But I think you're right. Like, you have to remember too though that, like, the Oilers fans can be very, very awesome and very, very toxic at the same time. And Connor, it seems to me like the kind of guy that likes his personal life quiet. And I mean, most of his Instagram posts are ads or, something that he's been sponsored by. He's posting because of that, but he doesn't post a lot of personal stuff. He likes his privacy, and I can respect that, but he's also a huge figure in Edmonton. You can't go and say, hey, Connor McDavid, and somebody go, well, who's that? Everybody knows who Connor McDavid is. So, he's got to have that. He's got to be professional. He's got to keep it pretty tight-lipped, I guess, on his social media accounts. So, I mean, he doesn't tweet a lot either, I don't think. So,
no, I mean, it's typically, it really is. It's typically sort of like some type of sponsored kind of tweet or something like that, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Reminds me a
Yeah.
lot of 99 back in the day.
Yeah, but I think the players were more accessible back then, right? Like, it wasn't even so much that you didn't see, because there wasn't all the media there, so you didn't really see. But you're right. I mean, you didn't hear a lot from Gretzky when he was playing, but like in the media wise, but people ran into him all the time, right? Like, I don't,
Yeah.
I run into people who lived, in Edmonton. My dad would see him and the guys at David's Pub, which used to be on Argyle and 82nd or somewhere around there. And
that was a long time ago.
yeah, it's a very long time ago. But my dad would come home. He'd go there, have a beer, whatever, after work, and then he'd come home, and he'd have this is back when you could smoke in the bar, right? And he'd have a pack of matches that were signed by Wayne Gretzky, like, or Glenn Anderson or whoever, right? Like, those guys they'd just be out, and you'd run into them, right? And it's a rarity that you will run into Connor McDavid. You run into Puljujärvi wandering the street somewhere, but
Hitch and ride.
Eating
hitching
pizza
rides,
with a
eating
pizza slice in his
going to-
mouth.
That's right. Okay, let's talk. That's a good segue. Let's talk. Let's talk Puljujärvi. Have you been following it all?
Oh,
Have you been following the Puljujärvi thing at all?
I every now and then I'll scroll through my timeline and see something, but no, I haven't. I can't say that I've been following. And I know he's played well in the Finnish league, but it's the Finnish league, so take that however you'd like. Um, I have thoughts about him, but I don't want to see him back as an Oiler. I don't I don't care to. I think that his attitude about not wanting to go down and play in Bakersfield and develop a little bit more, which is what he needed. He was given way too much opportunity without um, very much guidance. So I think the Oilers screwed him in that sense, which they've done a lot with younger players. But I think that he, if he would have been okay with saying, yeah, you know what, I will go down, I'll do what I got to do, and then, call me up as you need me, or, you know what, I'll prove myself. And he just wanted it handed to him. And that really pissed me off. I was like, you know what, just go away. And if you can trade him and you can get something decent for him, trade him.
Yeah, and
I,
I think the one thing that I think is, and I've been wrong so many times on this show, but I would swear, I would swear on it, and I'd bet on it that there is no hope in hell that we'd ever see Puljujärvi in an Oilers jersey again, and that's just because it's gone on too long and it's gone too far, and there's just no way to kind of get past that. I
yeah.
if it happened, and and I big asterisk on this, but if it happened and Puljujärvi played well, then I'd tell you Holland is a genius, and we should build a statue of him and put him right beside Gretzky out front. Um, but
I like Holland right now.
yeah,
I
yeah, no,
like what he's done.
I do. I
I
love
do.
Holland too, and but I think that I think that Holland understands that that's a no-win situation, right? The only way it would be a win is if by you were lucky enough that he like actually absolutely shot the lights out in Edmonton, right? Because if he came back and he failed in Edmonton, uh, it would be one of the blackest marks. It's like that's like signing Lucic, right? Like it's just it's about 50-50 on whether you like Puljujärvi, and maybe even like 70-30 against because
Yeah.
of what's happened. And I don't have anything, no big scientific polls to back that up. But if he fails, all of those people that think he was going to fail are going to jump on you. And as you said before, Oilers fans, although we love them, can also be a toxic mess at times. So
Well,
that
and
would
I
be
think,
something.
to be clear, I think that it's a very small number of people that create that toxic environment. But when they do, they're loud about it. So it just kind of flows through the social media and you just hear all that negativity. But I think when it comes to Puljujärvi, I think you're right. Like if he were to come down here and play his heart out, but still fail, I don't think anybody would be happy about it. It'd be like, what a waste of time. Why are we doing this? Why are we paying this guy? Or whatever it is that, negative Twitter wants to say or negative fans want to say.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to say, you know what, find the right piece that you need to move him. But I don't know what his value is. That's the
Wouldn't you
problem.
love to
And
sit in?
I'm not a, what's that?
Wouldn't you love to sit in on like a contract negotiation with him now? That
Oh,
would be
for
hilarious.
sure. Fly on the wall.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I would
exactly.
love that.
Who
Yeah,
would
for sure.
who's going to take a
Yeah.
run at this kid though? That's the thing. Mike on Periscope says if Comrie can come back, anyone can. Maybe it might be a
Yeah,
little bit of
fair
truth
enough.
to that. Yeah,
That's a fair point.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what they're going to do. I think he may end up staying where he is for all I know.
It
But I think
seemed to be
Holland
a hint
has him
at
on the
that today.
radar as potential trade bait, but again, what's the value there? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, and there's nothing to like the goals that he whether doesn't matter what you think of the league he's playing in. The goals that he's playing are not, they're not extra flashy. There's nothing particularly special about them. He hasn't changed his style of play, In fact, those same shots that he's taking and scoring on now, he tried in the NHL and wasn't scoring on. And so
Hmm.
I think as a a team that you're looking at him, you're scouting him, they're going to see the same thing. So there's not going to be a big willingness to give up a lot. I think what you'll see is Holland will get something, maybe a draft pick or something. He'll get something. Somebody will take a chance on it with something they can give away, and then the question will then become, does he even want to come to Canada or the U.S. and play NHL hockey, which we're still hoping
Well, I
he'll get
think he
back
does,
anytime soon.
because that's the goal, right? That's the goal for any hockey player, is to play in the NHL.
He's
Now,
a small
he's
town
had
Finnish
he's
kid,
had
though.
a shot, but he doesn't want to learn. That's and I mean, this is all hearsay, of course, because
Yeah,
I'm not in the room. I don't know what is actually being said, but what I can read from what I've seen and reports that I've seen in the actual media is that he wants to just play. Like, let me just play. I don't want to learn. I don't need to grow. Just let me play. And he's not good enough to play. So, if somebody wants to take a chance on him, take him.
yeah.
Just give us something back.
Now let's get off the Puljujärvi topic, because it seems like a bit of a lost cause of any type of conversation, really, right? I mean, we've
Mhm.
gone through a full year without him. I think, and we're going to make the playoffs this year, and he wasn't a part of that. So I think, whatever they get, Stacy on Periscope says third, Mike says trying to get back a second, but third at best, maybe, right? Anyway, uh,
Yeah.
what about
Yeah.
uh, what about the rumors around Slepyshev? Have you heard them?
Why are you doing this to me?
Hey, this is hard hitting journalism right here.
I don't.
If you don't cry by the
I
end
don't
of
know
this
what to do with
segment
that
here,
guy.
yeah. So you're not a
Like,
you're
what?
not a Slepyshev fan, then, is what you're saying.
I never really.
His
I don't
agent, by
know.
the
He
way,
had
is a big
moments.
time listener of this program. I'm only kidding. His agent
Who's
doesn't. I have no idea who his agent is.
listening in?
Yeah.
I don't. I don't. You know what? He had some moments where I was like, "Woo, yeah, nice goal," but then I'm just. It was just kind of. He was sort of a background figure for me. He was just sort of a. I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan, so I really could care less either way.
Yeah.
I don't
Mike,
really have an opinion,
there,
but it doesn't matter if he comes back. Cool. Let's see, but why? Like, so it's confusing. I don't know.
Mike, you got an
I
opinion
don't know.
on Slepyshev?
I I like him. I think he's got a hell of a snapshot. Um, it might have been a little bit of Todd McClellanitis going on with him. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be opposed to another look see. But with a grain of salt. I mean, everybody wants to deal Jujar Kara right now, and how much better is Schleppy than Jujar? I think there's probably a little bit more foot speed with Schleppy, and a little, well, definitely a better snapshot. But Jujar has some intangibles. He's a good penalty killer, and if needed, he can handle himself. And so, yeah, that's my thoughts.
Yeah. I'm not a fan right now of Jujar, because he's been playing not so well on the offensive side, but defensively he's been killing it. So, I got to, what is it that I guess, what's the role we want him to fill? Do we want him to be a penalty killer and a fourth line sort of grunt? Is that what we're looking for from him? Then he's in the right role. But if we're looking to get offense from the guy, yeesh, we're in trouble, because he's
Yeah.
not producing at all.
So my opinion on Slepyshev, I'll start with. I've gone, all this time not watching. I'm going back and I'm watching old games, see Slepyshev play, and I actually, you know what, I noticed him, and probably because I was looking for him, right, to kind of see, what it was I liked about him. He's doing really well in the K right now, and And I actually I liked his style of play. I think he's got promise, and to your point, Mike, I think McClellan probably had a little bit of something to do with where he ended up. So that's my thoughts on Slepyshev. I wouldn't be against it, but I hope that if Holland does find a way to sign him, it's not an overpay. That would be probably my
Yeah,
biggest concern. Although, we'll see what happens with the cap and all of those things. Anyway, when we get back, now the next we were talking about Jujar. He brings, the whole point about him, like what kind of player he is, brings up something that I think is quite interesting on this Oilers team this year that we haven't seen in the past. Was, we've had guys that were awful on both sides of the ice, right? Like,
yeah,
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, we had a whole team, and there was a guy, if guys weren't doing it offensively, they also weren't doing it defensively. But Sheehan hasn't been an offensive juggernaut this year. But I love the guy on the team, and I love what he
me
brings
too.
to the penalty kill, right? Like, you can't buy that, right? Like, it just, well, we obviously can buy that. It's called a salary, an NHL
At a
salary.
price.
And they did. And then Archie as well, right? Like, Archibald's not a, offensive juggernaut either. In fact, he's probably got, he's like, probably more is probably a career high in points this year. But defensively, I love that guy, and I love the way like him and Sheehan play on the penalty kill. Which the penalty kill this year, you remember when it seemed like every time we had I think it was what 3 years ago. Every time we got a penalty, the other team would score like every single time. Where we like, wasn't it the worst penalty kill in the history of the game? I want to say that
Yep.
it was, right?
Do I remember?
you
Come
still
on
you still
now.
We're
wake
all
up
trying to
screaming.
forget,
You've been
Mike.
You
an Oilers
still wake
fan
up
a long
screaming.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the penalty kill this year is pretty incredible, and like you said, I really like Sheehan. I really like Archie. I really like those two together. And you're right; they're not going to put up a boatload of points, but that's not why we have them. That's not their role, right? And I think that's the difference. Is back when McClellan was coaching, or even before that, nobody really had clearly defined roles as to what it is they were supposed to be, what we were utilizing them for, right? So, I mean, it's very clear that our first two lines are very well. Oh, I can't even right now because McDavid doesn't really have a lot to play with or to work with. So,
Yeah.
but our first two lines, the role, go and score. That's your job. Go get all the goals. And I've even noticed with Draisaitl, I mean, this year everybody's talking about how awesome he's been offensively, and I mean, geez, the guy had 100 points almost in February, or maybe he did in February. I can't remember the exact date, but defensively, he gives the puck away a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And but it's okay right now because we've got guys like Nuge, who's been phenomenal on both ends of the rink. Yamamoto, who's just a little firebug out there, and just oh, that line. I love that line so much. But sorry, I digress. That's what the difference I think this year is that everybody knows what the role is. You know what you're supposed to be doing, right? And I think that makes a big difference. If you tell a guy, this is your job. Your job is to go and strip guys of the puck. Your job is to get into the tough areas and fight for the puck. That's your job. And Sheehan and Archibald are doing it. Even Jujar is doing it.
Yeah.
So people are hating on him a little bit, and I was hating on him a little bit because he wasn't scoring, but he's doing what he needs to do on the defensive side of the ice. So,
and he's playing penalty kill minutes, and he's doing
Yep.
yeah. And anybody that's on that on that penalty kill, have been doing their job, right? Like, they've been getting it done
Yep.
night after night after night. And I would say on some teams, you can credit we've had decent goaltending, right? But on some teams you can credit the
Yeah.
goaltending specifically for the penalty kill. But this team, it's like it really is a team effort on the penalty kill, and I love it. Like it's to me,
Yeah.
it's the
The
biggest
other
biggest
thing
thing.
about the Oilers this year is they refuse to die.
Yeah,
That's another difference, right? When they're down by a couple of goals, I'm anticipating a comeback, and I'm usually the person waiting for the other shoe to drop. So for me to say that the glass is half full is pretty, my mother will tell you that's pretty impressive because I'm pretty
well,
half empty kind
I'm
of girl,
glad you
right?
say that because we got her on the show next. Yeah. we're gonna get
She's
we're
Miss Sunshine, Miss Positive, so
We
she
are
would
going to
have
get the
nothing but nice
story
things to
behind the
say.
story. The Jackie B expose is coming up. Yeah,
Well, if you had my dad on next, you'd be getting exactly what you get from me. So I am my father.
awesome. Yeah, no, I mean, that's 100% what it's been all about this year. I guess the question is, we come back, right? Is this the team? It's interesting because we just had this. We just had Chiarelli do his little interview there with the guy from Ottawa, right? Did you read?
Yeah.
Did you happen to read that or hear about it?
I perused it very quickly, so I didn't read the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I
So
did see that he was having trouble getting a job because of what's been said about him in Edmonton.
you go figure. So the now I'm lost. He said though the one thing that he thought that he did wrong was after the Oilers made the playoffs in 17 was he rushed it. Now I hate Chiarelli as much as the next guy and girl and woman in Edmonton, but there's a little bit of truth behind that, right? Like there's a pressure when you haven't made the playoffs in 10 years to go all in, right? In fact,
Yep.
as we're
Yep.
leading up to the playoffs this year, there were Oilers fans and those same toxic Oilers fans that you talk about that were getting pissed off that Holland didn't do enough, right? Not a lot. I think most of us learned from the Chiarelli time, right? Is that you can't go all in after one playoffs. Like you got to build a team to succeed. And thankfully, and I think that's what Holland brings to the table is patience, right? And
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
not the guy. He could give a shit about what everybody else is saying. But to me that's a big deal, right? Like we made the playoffs, and then the next year Maroon ends up playing, right? Like on the Stanley Cup, he ends up going for another Stanley Cup, right? Like and he probably would have this year too. And
That was something that losing Pat Maroon or not signing Pat Maroon was a huge mistake.
yeah, but
Huge.
I think it was
I'll die on that hill.
yeah, no, I think you're right. Like I think you're right. It was a huge mistake, but I think it was brought on by this fact that if you had Pat Maroon, who you know really a lot of people didn't think was a 30-goal scorer outside of McDavid's line, right? And I think the thinking was, let's go out and get a 30-goal scorer, and maybe he'll be a 50-goal scorer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the thought process. It's completely flawed when you look back at it now. But is the right and the point I'm getting at is the right move for Holland, in your opinion, is the right move for Holland to kind of stick with the team we've got, or are there a lot of changes still that need to be made?
Moving forward, are you talking like for next year, or are you
Yeah, for
talking
next
like?
year when we get back at it, whether it's I'm gonna just say I doubt very much we're seeing a playoffs.
Yeah. Okay.
I think my personal opinion is we're getting a new season next year. So if we go into this and next round is training camp, You think Holland's best bet is to stick with the team we've got, or are there some major tweaks that need to be done? And this is this is a legit question because you were kind of hinted at it before. McDavid, the biggest problem for McDavid right now is we haven't found, or and by we, Tippett hasn't found
Yeah,
anybody that's
we.
yeah, Tippett hasn't found anybody that's been completely stellar on his line yet, right? Like
Yeah,
McDavid will still get points. He'll do it, but it's the difference between having, McDavid Draisaitl points and then just McDavid points on that top line. What you think there's something needs to be done, or is this a maybe that's a Tyler Ennis or Athanasiou
no, no, no,
play?
no, 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 no,
What
no,
needs to be
no.
done? You're obviously not a big
So
Athanasiou fan.
I was excited, but cautiously excited, cautiously optimistic when he came aboard, and I was just like, stop bringing in all your Detroit buddies there, Ken. Like, just because he was okay there, but he has not impressed me at all. So I don't think that he's the answer. They need to find what Yamamoto brought to the Nuge Draisaitl line. They need to find that for McDavid. And they've tried. I mean, him and Leon are magic together. There's no question. But they've tried Nuge with him, and Nuge plays well with him. But he needs somebody of that caliber. He needs somebody that is an elite player, a top six winger that is going to be able to just come in there and play with Connor. And they've tried so many different. I mean, even Taylor Hall. And I don't even like talking about him, but Taylor Hall was just okay with Connor McDavid. Like, he didn't do anything exceptional, right? So I don't know. I think if you're going to make a change, that's the biggest area that you got to focus on, is to put somebody with McDavid, because if you can get somebody that's going to score with Connor McDavid, you're going to get double the points that you are getting currently. So I think that's probably the biggest thing. You might see maybe Bouchard comes up next year. I don't know. I can see maybe a trade happening. One of the defensemen, maybe Nurse, just to see what you get for him. But I would hate to go into a playoff. I mean, a lot of people don't like Darnell Nurse, or they do like Darnell Nurse. It's a pretty fine, you either like him or you don't. But he, to me, is the kind of guy that you want on your blue line come playoff time. He's tough. He's offensive. He can't shoot worth crap lately, but he's an offensive guy. He's tough. I like him. I would keep him. But if you're going to put somebody up to trade, that might be somebody that brings in that kind of winger that you need for McDavid.
One of the things I'm excited about, though, and this was what I thought one of the biggest flaws about the Oilers was in past years, was you have Draisaitl and you have McDavid, and I always felt like those two guys could take the puck up the ice on their own at any given time, right? Like, no problem.
Yeah.
Right? But you didn't have anybody that could feed anybody else. So, when we had Lucic on the team, if you don't give him the puck on his way out of the zone, he's not getting out of the zone with it. Like, he just, he doesn't have the skill and the speed that McDavid and Draisaitl have, or Nuge. And so we didn't have enough guys that could take the puck out of the zone on their own, which is pretty much any team in the NHL. You got a couple guys that can do it on their own, and the rest of them need a good pass to get out of the zone. And and this year we finally, like, with the emergence of Ethan Bear, who we haven't talked enough about on this show since I started streaming live. Ethan Bear has been, he's allowed for that to happen, right? Like, some of his passes from the corner, just the ability to get those wingers out into an open spot. And Mike on Periscope says Lucic wasn't getting out of the zone even if you put it on his tape. Probably right. And,
or taped to his stick, yeah.
Yeah, or taped it to his stick. That's right. And Ethan Bear makes a big difference. And then, of course, having Clefbaum, healthy. What we also don't forget is in 17, Sekera was healthy that whole year, right? Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. He made a big difference
he
back
did
there too.
make a big difference. Like it seems like he's the forgotten player, and it's because he got injured. Was out for a season. When he came back, he just wasn't the same. But
Hmm.
you had Sekera, Larson, Clefbaum, all healthy that year. We went to the playoffs. And that
Yeah.
that just makes, in my mind, that makes a huge difference. And this year, Clefbaum was out for a little bit, but you had some guys that could move the puck. Like Nurse isn't the best. He doesn't take the puck out of the zone the best. In fact, I always like you'll find me at home screaming at the TV, yelling at Nurse to pass it over to Bear so that Bear can get it out of the zone, right? and
Yeah.
but at
But
least
Bear's got that vision,
oh,
right?
he's unbelievable, yeah, and at
Yeah.
least with in credit to Nurse, at least he can carry it out of the zone on his own and get it out of there because I
Yeah. He's
mean,
got he's
yeah.
got some good wheels.
Yeah, he does. His shot's always the same. Once in a while, he scores on that shot on the coming down the left side. but oh man, it just drives me nuts watching him shoot it into the breadbasket every time. And
Every time. Yeah, I know. And I started that whole make Nurse a winger thing because I wanted him. I'm like, maybe he's the winger that McDavid needs. But then I'm like, oh, wait, he can't shoot.
remember
Hang
they
on.
put Struds up on the wing for a little while. Do you
Don't you
remember
think
that?
that would be a good idea? What about like even Bear? Give it a shot. Just try it for a couple of games. Put a defenseman up there and just see what happens. Like, that was my biggest thing. I'm like, just give him a different option.
I just don't
Give
think
him somebody
Nurse's
that you wouldn't
shot.
expect.
Like Nurse just doesn't have the shot. He's got the speed to take the puck up, but he needs to build on that speed.
Oh,
Like
no,
he
I
needs
know
to
he
do it
doesn't.
from the back end. But I think Bear's got enough vision. He could play. He could play wing and make a couple sweet passes. I
Yeah.
mean, he's made some beautiful passes or beautiful plays off the wall and roofed it. Like man, I'm just
Yep.
such a big Bear fan. Like he you know what? That could be like totally. That audio could be cut out. That'd be totally used against me in so many ways. Uh, but I'm.
I'm telling.
That's right. I think Ethan Bear is, he's destined for great things on the Oilers. I hope that we lock him up
Yeah.
before he gets too good.
Me too. Me too. Because I really, really like him. I love what he brings to the game. I love that he's got such a high hockey IQ. Like he just knows where to be. He knows where to put the puck. He's a good defenseman. He's only gonna get better.
Yeah, 100%. Between the two of you, I've got the Puck Buddies guys coming on right away in about 5 minutes, and one's a Canucks fan, and the other is a Habs fan.
Ooh,
Two teams
rough
that
time.
two teams that we can finally chirp a little bit about where they are in the standings. Not that we not although I'm always careful not to chirp too many people because you know how quickly it can turn around for the Oilers, and just like this year, obviously Glenn Ma- Glenn
Yeah.
Moss is big Bear fan. LOL. He's got BARE in his. Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, you're never gonna live that one down.
No. I said it. It's recorded. It's in perpetuity.
Yeah,
Once it's
it's
on the
It's
out
out
internet,
there,
there now.
and it's
yeah.
burned into my memory now.
That's
So
right. That's right.
look out.
So we've got a Canucks fan and a Habs fan on. Jackie, what's the first thing you would say to a Canucks fan if you were chirping a Canucks fan?
Oh, something about diving. But that's they haven't really been like that lately. That's more of, the Sedins. They
Kessler.
used to dive a lot, but Canucks fan. Sorry, you're a Canucks fan. Sorry, your team
Yes.
is
Sorry.
never going to win a cup ever.
Now,
I don't know. That's it.
have
That's it.
That's all you need.
that's all you got. They're actually tuning in right now on Periscope, so they
Well,
got this.
it is what it is.
Do you have a Canucks player though that you like have some respect for? Is there one sort of in history that you liked watching?
Oh my gosh. In history?
Yeah,
Uh,
there's a couple that come to mind for me as a hockey
yeah,
fan.
I have a few.
Yeah.
I have a few. I like the Sedins. I thought they were excellent, excellent hockey players, and the fact that they got to play their whole career together on the same team was pretty stellar. I actually really like Pedersen.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. Pedersen's good.
I'm not going to go too far back because I don't want to date myself that much. So we'll just stick with Pedersen and the Sedins and leave it alone.
I'm thinking Pavel Bure is probably one of
Eh,
my all-time greats. There, watching him
oh, he
play
was
was always
a hockey player
fun.
for sure.
Yeah, it's from a hockey perspective. I always say like there's some players that I hate, but if they were on my team, like I would absolutely love them. And Pavel Bure was one of them because he was, always so exciting to watch. The Sedins too. In fact, I got to with these two guys that are going to be on here in a few minutes. We got to play against I don't know, one of the Sedin brothers. I couldn't tell you which one, but it's quite funny. In fact, Lucas, the Habs fan, I've got a great picture of him in the corner, completely facing the other way, while Sedin's got the puck. We still don't know. In fact, I am going to. And sorry about this, Lucas. I'm going to post that picture up and let people caption it because it is probably it is. Oh, it was Henrik. So it was Hank Sedin, and but those guys were absolutely awesome. Like they were real gentlemen. They were both at this tournament in Vancouver. Just really great guys. So I will give a shout out to the Sedins,
Yeah.
and Oilers fans acknowledged that they're great. Like when they played their last game.
Oh, for
right?
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
for
can't
sure.
knock
I
it, yeah.
mean, you can't deny that, right? I mean, a great hockey player is a great hockey player, whether he's on your team, not on your team, or you just hate him. A great hockey player is a great hockey player, and you got to
Absolutely.
respect that as a hockey fan.
Yeah. And what about the Habs? You got a Habs guy?
Oh, see now, if my husband was, I'm upstairs, he's downstairs. He's French, so
Oh, okay.
he would probably have a few things to say about them.
Yeah.
You know what, I'm not one of those people that hates the Habs. I got to say, I'm a huge Carey Price fan. I think he's amazing. So I guess I'll just say, I'm glad you have Carey Price, and sorry you have lost PK Subban, and I think your team sucks. But it's not true at all.
It's not true. I grew up a Habs fan.
None of that is true except the fact that I like Carey Price. I'm not a Habs hater by any stretch. I don't hate them. I hate the Leafs. Like if you want me to go there, I can go there, but I'm not gonna right now. We don't have time for that.
No Leafs fans have ever graced this show. No, I'm not.
And you should keep it that way.
Yeah, we should definitely keep it that way. All right, Jackie. I want to say, a big thanks. I would love to get you back on if it works out.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime. I have a Gretzky story that I'd love to tell you. So anytime.
Yeah? All right, Mike. Jot that down. We're gonna have to get that story out of her, and of course, it's not gonna be hard to get out of her, but we'll need to get that one for sure. All right. Well, thanks so much. We're going to take a couple minutes break, and we'll be back with Mark and Lucas from Puck Buddies Hockey.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jackie. Mics are still live, by the way.